Welcome to Remodel the podcast. We are here to inspire a 360 badass transformation to your entire way of being, pairing the inner work and the outer work because we know that they're a power couple. Our intention is to deliver to you effective, intentional, and quality episodes to inspire you to actually go out there and conquer your dreams. So join our community now where self-confidence is sexy as fuck. Welcome to Remodel the podcast. Oh my good gosh, guys. If you're here, you're probably thinking things look a little different. And you're right. We have grown up, team. We have evolved. We have arrived. I am sitting right now at the incredible Poly Studios in the Gold Coast, bringing to you my brand new podcast. But you know what? It's not a brand new podcast. So, Sass with Cass. If you listened to Sass with Cass at any point over the last 4 years, I consider you family. You are... It literally makes me want to get emotional. Like, you are my heart. Like, wow, I really didn't think I was going to do this. We grew up together, and that's one of my favorite things about being an online creator and having a presence online is I really feel like I've grown up with you. I made my social media account when I was 17, and I'm turning 28 in the next 2 months. Oh, wow. I'm not crying. This makeup's fresh. Don't do this to me, guys. I turned 28 in the next 2 months, and I knew I had this calling in my soul that it was time for me to do something different. And you're looking at it. So as you've all grown up with me and you've watched me through all my phases, you've listened to all my rants, I would like to offer you a first-class seat to attend my best evolution yet, in my opinion. This is our big girl growing up moment. It is a dream of mine for such a long time to film my podcast as well as just record it, to be consistent. And I set a goal at the beginning of the year to record a podcast every week, and that didn't happen. And quite a few of you chased me up about that, like, fair play, good on you. Please do that always. I invite you to do that because I do that shit to you motherfuckers. But anyway, I'm so glad to tell you that I didn't achieve that goal because I was doing something worthwhile. And what I was doing was putting together what you see now. So we have had a huge rebrand. My podcast is called Remodel. We'll get into why it's called Remodel. But we will always be Sass with Cass. So welcome back to Sass with Cass. If you're old and if you're new, welcome to Remodel, where I help you find your model of success. In this episode, I'm going to be talking all about my brand Models, what Models is, why Models came to be, how I created the brand, my intention for it, and giving you a life update on life in my late 20s, which is low-key, spoiler alert, sexy as fuck. Okay, so starting with, why did I do this? Why are we sitting here? Why are we on the couch? Why has this happened to us, Cass? So everything I've ever done online, I've had a 10-year career online. I made my Instagram page when I was 17, like I mentioned. Everything I'd done online felt really spread out. So I had 2 best-selling books. I kind of had like a fashion beauty Instagram page. I had a podcast. I had all these things that kind of felt like they were very wide and I was just one girl. And I started to feel this urge of how can I bring, excuse me, should I edit that out? How can I bring all of this together in one place? And I wanted to create a place that felt safe. I wanted to create a place and a brand and a business that I needed when I was growing up, that I needed in my early 20s, that I need now. I want to create a space where I actually feel like myself, where hopefully there's other people out there like me who value what I value, and we can do this together. And I want to provide the tips that have changed my life so profoundly, from being someone that was medicated for anxiety, had bulimia for the best part of a decade, had body dysmorphia, had binge eating disorder, had yo-yoed in weight, up 15 kgs, down 15 kgs, cystic acne, couldn't hold a relationship together, all these things that have, I literally feel like a different person. Like if you met me when I was 18 or 17, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is But it was through these practices that I changed everything. And that's not to say that I didn't have a great life, because I did. And I know all of you out there have great lives. It's about becoming your best self. It's about, like, you think of a Pokemon, right? And you start with that basic Pokemon, and then the Pokemon evolves. That's what we're trying to do. It's not about changing the Pokemon. It's just about up-leveling. It's about going to your next aura, your next version, your next you. Like, in my opinion, why not be the best you can be? Why not? Like, my biggest fear is to go down on my deathbed and think, I didn't use everything I have. Because I know I was given incredible gifts. Everyone on earth was given incredible gifts. You all have the ability to go find them, and it's up to you if you want to. And I want to go on that quest. I want to help you go on that quest, because why else are we here? Think of the process of evolution. Like, we started from chimpanzees or whatever it was, and now we have OnlyFans. Not a good example, but we've come far. And I just want all of us to feel and experience and live the best and most juicy life. And I wanted to create a brand and a business that not only reflected that, but it taught that, it gave back to everyone what I have given to myself. So that was the beginning of this calling of, okay, how do I do this? What does it look like? And I went through a process of trying to come up with what this was going to be. I had the pillars of what I loved. I had the bones of what I'd created in the past, and that all needed to come together somehow. I had 10 years of experience in the social media industry, from taking brand deals for free to modeling for free, working on shoots, brand deals for zero money, to eventually stepping it up, networking, meeting the incredible, brilliant people in the industry that I know now who are very good friends of mine. And it was a slow process, working as a digital strategist, doing marketing for other brands, seeing how much I was able to grow other brands, and that internal journey of mine at the same time. And so what I've created here with Models, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of both those journeys coming together. And when I first wanted to come up with a business, it was not easy. Like, please do not let anyone fool you into thinking that the shit is just meant to be easy. Like, lightning's meant to hit earth and you're meant to have this fantastic idea and it's all meant to unravel right in front of you in perfect format. That it's just not how shit happens. And one of my favorite creators of all time is called Sammy Clark. Shout out to Sammy Clark if you listen or watch her. She's a YouTuber, Instagrammer. She's all about fitness, wellness, and she has a brand called podcast called Transform. My friend Amber from Modern Mind just went on it. Listen to the episode if you can. Very, very, very cool moment to see one of my best friends there with my idol. So I was listening to an episode of Transform, and Sammy said something that really changed my life, where she said, we worked for our name Form forever. Like, we literally, it didn't come to us. It wasn't easy. It wasn't a step-by-step process. We had to really push to come up with this name. They were talking about how hard it was. And to come up with the name Models, I'm going to tell you the story of how I came up with the word models, because it's important to me that you understand why it's called that, because that's how you're going to understand the brand. And that's what I'm trying to do on this podcast today, is help you understand the brand. So she was saying to come up with the word form, which is genius for a fitness brand, right? To call their brand Form. That's great marketing. and she was saying that they were on like a web thesaurus generator, like a word generator, right? Going like loading, her and her business partner. And her tip was, when you'll know you find the right name for your business because all the other languaging will flow off it. So you'll find a name and then it's just going to go doof, 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 doof. In terms of like the immediate messaging beside it, because a name is nothing without a reason. And when I tell you, I had this notes app in my phone of names for this business. You know what? Let me find it. Let's do this right now. Let me find this, because this is it. I don't know if you can see on the camera. Yo, it's still going. That was my second top name. I'm not even going to tell you what it was. She's Miss Girl. So I was spending months on this name, months, and nothing came forward, really. And one day I was walking down the road. I go for a morning walk every morning. It's a non-negotiable. It's part of who I am. If you know me, you know I do this. If you're close with me, you've probably been on one with me. If you haven't, we're not close enough. No, I'm kidding. So I go on this walk every morning, and it's where I solve the world's problems. I just pulled out from my street where I was staying with my mum and my dad, and I saw two cars parked. And one car was a Volkswagen Golf, and I immediately pay attention because it's the car that I own, right? You always prick your head up when it's your own shit. So I see this Golf, and it's from maybe 2007. And there is an identical VW Golf right behind it. And it's from 2024, 2023. They're both jet black. And I look at them and I was like, isn't that so funny that in 2007, they were like, this is the best we've got. This is the top of the range, state of the art. This is our best. This is our guy. And every year since, they've improved that model. Until you get to 2023, 2024, the Superfly one, that obviously looks much more evolved than the one in front of it. And I looked at it and I was like, isn't that so funny that we have these models of cars driving around in front of us every single day? And I looked at them and I was like, that's exactly what I'm trying to teach people. I'm trying to teach you that that updating isn't just for cars, that you can lift the hood and change what's on the inside. You can rev that engine, you can update that engine, and in turn, it's going to change what's on the outside. And if you're trying to find these fixes for things in your external world, whether that be dropping weight, acne, getting fitter, getting a better relationship, more money, better job, better relationship with your dad, your mom, better friendships, moving. If you're trying to change something in the external and you haven't fixed the internal, number one, you're delaying your success. And number two, if you get it, you probably won't be able to hold it. And that's my main message, is that it goes hand in hand. So I saw those cars and I thought about the word, and I thought about how much experience I have personally with modeling and the modeling industry, of actually working as one and putting myself out there on Instagram and living on a camera and living through photos. And immediately it just clicked, this conception between that journey I just told you of my social media journey and my internal journey. And I love that the word models represents both of them, even though you immediately probably thought I came out with a modeling agency. What I'm referring to in the word is actually the mechanics of it, of creating a different model. And as soon as I had the word model, the slogan, find your model of success, came to me. And find your model of success is one of my favorite things that I'm most proud of that I've ever come up with, because for the last decade, that's exactly what I found for myself. And that's exactly what I hope to help you find for you. And I have full confidence that I'm the person to help you get there because I have waded through every water to help myself and anyone close to me find it. So I had Find Your Model of Success, and from there came the idea for Remodel, which is the podcast you're listening to right now. The word remodel resonated with me so hard that I actually almost considered calling my business Models Remodel, but I thought that it was the perfect sub off my business name for what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to do on this podcast. Because my goal is really to help men and women find that success, inspire them to create a total transformation to exactly who they are. Let's get this straight. You can change your entire way of living. Each one of us has a story, a narrative in our head, a belief system of who we are. We're talking about ourselves as if we're a character. We're literally setting ourselves up as if we're watching Katniss on the Hunger Games, and your brain is a record of the past, so you're sitting there thinking, I know what this bitch does. I've seen this before. And if you want to change your outcome, you need to change how you think about yourself. You need to change whether you believe you're the winner or the loser, whether you think you're going to be successful or you don't. Because how you're perceiving yourself is how everyone's perceiving you. There was this study done where they sent women into a job interview and they put fake effect makeup on them and put scars over their face. And what they didn't tell them is right before those women went into the job interview, they touched up their makeup and they actually removed the scarring. And the woman went in and came out and reported masses of discrimination, specific comments made, ways that they were made to feel less than for the scar on their face. And then they were shown in the mirror that they had no disfigurement on them. And I think that's a really, really beautiful example of what happens when you kind of believe the worst about yourself. And so if we take that example and you think about your life now and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve, if you don't change how you're speaking to it yourself, how do you expect anything else to change around you? In my community models, I'm going to take you through step-by-step processes of how you can actually change your perception of you and go after your external dreams. The story I want to tell you for how powerful this stuff is and how powerful what you do is. And it's a story from my dad, so I hope that he doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm going to have to ask him after I record this, but he told me it right before I flew to the Gold Coast. Basically, the story is that he's a music teacher. He teaches students the flute, and he has a younger student who is like 6 or 7 years old, and he teaches her the flute. And recently he was traveling in Europe and wanted to pick up some music. So you can buy scores of music. And he went in to buy this music and he looked at one of the scores and he thought of one of his students. It reminded him of her. So he thought, oh, that's a bit random, but he purchased the music and he purchased the score and he brought it back to New Zealand from, I believe it was Germany. And this girl comes to her lesson and he has the piece of music and it's a challenging piece of music. It's advanced. And he shows her it and she starts to get emotional, or she's quite taken back. And my dad says to her, what's going on? And she said, this is a piece of music that I have on a CD and I listen to it every night before I fall asleep. And she has done for years since she was a baby. And my dad was just dumbfounded, like blown away. How could this be? Like, how could I think of this, see this piece of music and think of this student so far away? And then she listens to it every single night. And she loved it. They played it together and it's a really happy story. But I think when my dad told me that story, I was like, that's actually really profound, because that's an immediate example of what you're putting out there and how much that resonates. What you're thinking about and how you're behaving is coming back to you in more ways than we can ever expect. And to curate that experience, to take from that story and think, what is my piece of music that I'm listening to? You know, are you at night beating yourself up every night before you go to bed? Are you speaking the worst of yourself? What are you emitting? What's your song? Think about it. Like, take that example, make it yours. What's your song? What's your piece of music? Is it a happy one? Is it joyful? Are you going to be a pleasure to be around? Or is it a little bit of hard fucking work? And I just really, really adored hearing that, because that to me summarizes so much of what I'm trying to do here with this brand. And just to really drive that message home. But I have such high hopes for this. So basically what Models is going to launch with is, it's an online platform. So it's a wellness community. We're launching with an online course where you can essentially heal your inner and outer self and manifest and achieve your best you. So we're launching with a very exclusive limited drop. Not everyone's going to get into it, and you're going to work for 4 weeks with me, alongside me. You're going to get online calls. I'm going to be showing up and doing it with you daily. You are going to have a step-by-step exact process of what I've done to achieve everything I have. I'm going to literally give you my secret formula, including tailored meditations and visualizations, and my exact practices and how I do them to fully change my life, or how I did it. So I'm literally giving you my model of success, and in that you will find yours. So my exact way of doing things might not work for all of you, but I have set it up in such a way that through it you will find what works for you. And you'll pull inspiration from it and you'll make it your own. And this is what I really want. Is I didn't want this brand to be named after me, because I want this to be for you. I want you to see this brand and see this business and feel at home. I want you to be able to recognize it on the top of a building, at a fitness or a fashion event. I want you to be able to see it on yoga mats or on the back of leggings. I literally just, I want it to be bigger than me. I don't just, everything I've done was like Cass, sass with Cass, quotes with Cass, Cass. And this is for us. It's not just for me. And for me, making it for you is a gift to myself. I want it to be a safe space. I want it to be something that, like, the incredible coaches that have taught me, the people that have helped me, the brands that have helped me. To Be Magnetic by Lacey Phillips changed my life. I want you to be able to think about Models and say, that changed my life. That changed everything, and that fucking worked. That's what I want you to be able to say. And it's so cool to be here and be introducing you to this and making sense of it, because the amount of phone calls that I have had with friends, my boyfriend, my parents, like, even from designing products for Models and showing them in my flat back in Australia, like the tiny first edits of things I'd been putting together that are going to come out, to now actually being here and being in this beautiful studio and actually recording this visually, is a literal dream come true. And it's been so much work, and it's so fucking exciting to introduce you to all this stuff. And I hope you love it and you find something in it for you as much as I've found for me. So yeah, welcome to Models. Welcome to Remodel. I hope that we can find your model of success. Okay, I'm getting comfy. It's life update time. It's life update time. So, I'm turning 28. And honestly, 28 is, I had like a fucking meltdown when I turned 25. I don't know if anyone relates to that. Like, what is it about 25? When I turned 25, I remember sitting at the table with my dad and being like, I'm old. And my dad was like, yeah, like 100%, like it's not looking good for you. And that was my moment where I kind of felt like I had gone over the hill. Like, I don't even know what hill I'm talking about, but I'd gone over something, girl. And I was just like, I've lost it. I've lost the mojo. I'm having a breakdown. And it was like goodbye to my idiot years. And I love telling my younger friends about the prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex is something in your brain that basically improves your emotional regulation and your ability to make decisions. and it grows at 25. And I will say having a prefrontal cortex is fire. And if you don't have a prefrontal cortex, I'm excited for you to have one because shit got easier. And the thing that I've noticed about my late 20s is I don't have time to waste. And what I mean by that is time has become the most valuable and exclusive thing to me. Sorry, I've got my phone for some notes. Time has become the most valuable thing to me. So in my late 20s, what I'm doing that I wasn't doing in my early 20s is if shit isn't working, I'm stopping it. And I'm stopping it soon. I'm out of there. Because at 28, it feels like I have this, like, everything that wasn't important to me has started to become important to me. And what I mean by that is security and structure and creating my forever, like building a forever, building something that I want to do forever, that I love so much that I want to do forever. And that's what I'm doing with this brand is I could do this every single day unpaid until I die. And that's the stuff I want to be doing. I want to be working on energy givers, not energy drainers. And anything that isn't for me right now is kind of getting axed. And you learn how to navigate quicker in your late 20s. You learn how to pivot. You learn, and you know who you are too. You know, actually, I'm not that kind of person. Actually, I prefer that lifestyle. Actually, I know what drink I want. And I love that about my late 20s. I love knowing what I want. I love knowing what I need. I love being able to ask for it. I think that's so hot. Like, I think it's so hot to not just go with the flow. Like, can we stop going with the flow? Let's cut the flow. I want to direct the flow. I want to build the flow. Sorry, microphone. I'm anti-flow. Well, I am pro-flow on a moat and a river that I've built. That's my flow. I want to direct the flow. And that to me is late 20s. It's directing the fucking flow. So to give you like the real tea, I guess, like the gag of it all. This is like, okay, is this a juicy episode? I don't know. So I'm going to answer like all your questions because your girl has been getting a lot of questions on social media about what the fuck I'm doing. Fair enough. So basically I came back from Europe and I've stepped down from my full-time job. So I had a full-time job as a digital strategist and I was managing predominantly beauty and skincare brands, which was super cool and I loved it. I was working at the Beauty Collective. They're one of the best companies ever. So my time with them has ended and I've picked up a role at Caitlin Crisp, who is one of my dear friends and has a ridiculously successful fashion brand. So it's been amazing to work with her and I've been working on this behind the scenes. So the question that I get asked on Instagram, sometimes it's twice a day and sometimes it's 40 times a day. Number one, where are you living? And two, are you and your boyfriend still together? So thank you for asking me these questions, guys. So I am currently living in Auckland, New Zealand. I was living in Noosa in Australia with I was living there. My boyfriend's from there, so I was there for 7 months and I have come back to New Zealand. I had a trip to Europe planned, which was incredible. If you follow me on social media, I'm sure you saw that because I posted to shit about it. If you're spending that much money, why wouldn't you? And so basically, yeah, let me just actually get this right. Yeah, so I am living in New Zealand at the moment and so I'm living in New Zealand at the moment. We had planned, my boyfriend and I, to move to the Gold Coast, which didn't quite happen to our timeline. We both have individual business projects where we live. My business project you are watching right now. So we're just going to see how both our work tracks and then we will eventually end up in the right place. So we're both going to see how our work tracks and then eventually end up in the same place is obviously the goal. yes, we are together. We're happier than ever. We have a great relationship. He dropped me off here today. That's all fine. And it was really interesting to me because obviously I am not a big creator compared to what's out there, but this is the first time I've shared a boy on social media. And I understand that it's juicy, it's interesting. And if you're sharing someone on social media as someone who's a content creator or a personality, I get that people want to find out what's happening and they do buy into the relationship. And I have barely even shared my relationship compared to what some people do out there. But it's so funny that even in the little times that I have shared it, people have really taken note of it and what's happening. So yes, we're together. Yes, we do long distance. Happy to do a long distance episode or like tips and tricks, or I can get him on the podcast. He'll die. And we can talk about it if that's of interest. But I think actually long distance it's a really powerful thing because it means that you have to get serious about your person quite quickly. You're putting a huge amount of time and money into just seeing them. So you've got to actually really, put some thought into this, and it's either going to be really right or it's not going to be right. And I think it's one of the best things you can do for a relationship if it's just for a period of time, because it gives you this moment of like coming together, but also really standing true in your identities, and for the other person to learn a lot more about your lifestyle and who you are. And especially if you're coming from two different countries, which I presume a lot of long distance relationships are, that can be really important. So it means we really cherish the time together when we do have it and make the absolute most of it. And no, it's not easy, but I think with the right person, it feels a lot easier. So that's your answer on that. That's the juicy hot gossip. Will I move back to Australia eventually? Like, yes. We're just seeing where the wind takes us, and that's late 20s for me. Is where's the wind taking us, but also I'm directing the wind, and this wind better be on time. So yeah, I felt a massive shift in my late 20s. I felt I can feel my body and my soul preparing for something like motherhood in the future. Obviously not now, but I can feel it preparing for this new literal evolution of me and this new life chapter, which is so exciting and so beautiful, and I think so natural. And yeah, I think, but because I'm not there yet, this next little stretch is really just like golden time for myself. And I want it to be exactly what I want. I want it to fill my cup and make the absolute most of it. And I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm unashamedly putting myself first. And I have found time and time again that when I do that, the whole universe and everyone in my life is actually happier. And I even create more opportunities for the people I love. So this time I come first, and so be it. And I think that's one of my big messages that I really want you guys to find too, is I'm not telling you to be selfish, because I'm telling you to be loving and look after people. But I think to look after people genuinely, you need to be coming from a full and whole place. So yeah, it's a good time. It's a good era. It's exciting. It's exciting to be doing this stuff. It's exciting to like sitting here on this couch and doing this is like, I've never felt more like myself, which is such a blessing and so cool. And thank you for coming along for the ride. So feel free to DM me, ask me more questions about models. You can follow my brand at Models by Cass on Instagram. Fuck yeah. Keep your eyes peeled for when we do the online course. Join the community, come to the community events. We'll be doing those, and because I fucking love events. I did a wellness event in February with Eve Wellness, and I had this magic moment where everyone was in a meditation, and I was walking through the crowd, and I could just see tears slipping down everyone's eyes, and I was like, this is what I'm born for. So I want to share that for you. I want you to find what you're born for, and I'm really excited to share this journey with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you listen to Sass with Cass, thank you for listening to Sass with Cass. This will always be Sass with Cass. This will never, ever, ever, ever it will never not be Sass with Cass. Oh my God. No. This is fresh makeup. But yeah, I'm really excited for Remodel too. I'm excited to grow up with you. I'm excited for our big girl evolution. I'm excited for this to not just be Cass, and for us to do something together. And that's why I made this. And I hope you love it as much as I do. Thank you so much for listening to Remodel the podcast. I hope this has helped you find your model of success. We'll catch you on the next one.